What's up, guys? It's Cody here, and welcome back to another video. So at this point, you may or may not have heard of the Double Charlie glitch in Pikmin 3 Deluxe. The glitch, at least, I think, was discovered by this guy right here. And there's been a few things covering it, but honestly, I found all that stuff pretty insufficient and confusing for what the glitch actually is. So in this video, I'll be going over how to perform the glitch, what the glitch is, and how the glitch impacts your game, aka playing around and doing stupid stuff with it. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first up, here's how to do the glitch. If you already know how to perform it or just don't care, skip to the timestamp on screen right now to get to the other parts of the video. But if you do care, let's actually get started now. So you can actually perform this glitch right off the bat. Once you've gotten through the basic tutorial in Charlie's crash site, take 29 of your Pikmin and throw them up against this crystal. Then take your remaining Pikmin and throw him up here, since you'll need him once you've gotten out of bounds. Then there's a tree root right here that you need to walk up. It might take a while to get as high as possible, but watch the bottom of your screen until it stops moving upwards. Also keep in mind where my pointer's at so you can get the right angle when walking up it, otherwise you're never going to reach the top. Then you'll simply walk over and around the root to get out of bounds. Then grab your yellow Pikmin and hug this root while holding A. You'll actually need to be holding your Pikmin for the rest of these tricks, so keep them handy. Anyway, keep mirroring my movements until you can eventually get to the top of this next route. You'll need to do some fancy maneuvers here that I can't quite explain, but I found it easy enough to quickly push your control stick to the left, then immediately go forward and right again to land on the other side. After that, there's a few fancy movements that shouldn't take you too long to get down, but if you need to slow down the video and watch carefully, by all means. Then, once you're up this large trunk-like object, go as far as you can up and then start moving left while hugging the invisible wall. If you fall too far down the slope, you're blocked by another wall and you'll need to restart. Then once you get to about this area, as far as you can left while still staying at the peak, start moving back and forth and you'll start seeing yourself slowly climb the hill. After a while, you'll see this little area of bright light, and then it's pretty much guesswork. You can watch and rewatch me do this 1,000 times, but I honestly don't think there's any trick to this. Basically, you'll just want to start holding forward once you hit the spot of light, and then maybe you'll start climbing up the hill. It'll take a few tries to get down, and more often than not, you'll get stuck in a divot in the snow and have to retry, but once you reach the shadow of this branch, you'll get a weird camera zoom out. You can start moving left just a little while after. Then follow the invisible walls up and over the entrance to the Phosbat cave and to the other side. Then just walk over to the other side of the crystals that you threw your Pikmin at earlier, drop down, whistle your Pikmin, enter the cave, and you've officially broken the game. Now that you're in the open, distant tundra, throw all your Pikmin at this corner here. And then you can pretty much just walk up this wall into the out of bounds area. Maneuver around this route and phase through another. And then walk all the way around until you reach a river. Go straight in between these two rocks and you'll hit a sloped area. Then follow my path around these rocks and plants from underneath. If you've done it right, you'll fall out of bounds and land in this area here, right before the entrance to the Behemoth Phosbat fight. Switch to pointer controls, whistle your Pikmin, and enter the cave. Now you've successfully pulled off the glitch, and now you just have to defeat the Phosbat normally. Keep in mind that you don't yet have access to charging or locking on though, since you haven't completed that tutorial yet. Once you defeat the Phosbat, you'll get yourself a second Charlie. This makes some pretty hilarious dialogue and just really messes the game up. There's also literally no music here for some reason. But now that we've performed the glitch, let's take a look at the effects. So first, you can actually carry back the heroine's tear, and as you may have noticed, there's actually nothing loaded outside of the initial crash site area, except for some reason the Drake. If you carry back the fruit, it acts completely normal, juices the thing, has the dialogue about your first fruit, it works perfectly fine. Another thing about this glitch is that you can't actually switch to your second Charlie, though you can still throw him. And since you don't have access to your copad, all of those features will not be accessible either. However, a feature you do get after defeating the Fosbat is the end day function, which means you can move on from day 1. If you do end the day, both your Charlies will board the Drake, and it'll show the red onion actually flying up. Something to take note of is that you can actually skip this cutscene, even though typically on day 1 you couldn't skip it. Then the final report is basically a mesh of day 1 and whatever day you beat the Fosbat on. Honestly super strange. Then the next day you can land wherever you want, but you won't have an onion or Pikmin. One thing to notice is that you now have Alf, Brittany, and all the controls, like the Y menu, which normally wouldn't be unlocked until you went through the tutorial for charging. I find it strange because this means that there aren't required events that need to happen for the game to progress. Essentially, the game just checks to see the most recent thing that you did and assumes you've done everything previous. And this can be shown by the fact that when we exit this cave, it plays the cutscene you normally see at the end of day 1, meaning the game doesn't think we've done it yet, but it does think we've done the things ahead of it, so the game just crashes. This is made even more confusing by the fact that the onion isn't here, since it's required to progress at all. So why doesn't the game just assume we got the onion like it assumed we rescued Brittany? In addition, all the onions that might have been at their starting positions at a time are just straight up gone. The red onion is replaced by the delectable bouquet, and the yellow onion just isn't where it's supposed to be. So you've essentially soft-locked your game. So let's try to get the onion, shall we? First off, Pikmin extinction doesn't work after you've defeated the Fosbat. You're just left with 0 Pikmin and the day keeps going. And while I didn't try it, I'm assuming if you haven't defeated the Fosbat and you got extinction or you killed Charlie, the cutscene where Charlie is eaten will just play, since that's what happens if you actually kill all your Pikmin in the tutorial. And if you killed Charlie after you killed the Fosbat, the same thing would happen as just ending the day normally. So that's not a way to move forward. But there is another possible way. Since the Yellow Pikmin cave entrance is open, you can walk in and actually see the yellow onion is just sitting there on day 1. Now, if you walk out of this cave, it'll activate the cutscene where Alf is on the other side of the bridge, and Brittany and him need to reunite, and then the game will crash. So you need to have access to the end of day feature, and, of course, your Pikmin when you walk into this cave. Then you can turn the light on and activate the yellow onion. The onion works normally, and once you end the day, it merges with the red and rock onion that the game just assumes you have. But then, it doesn't come back the next day. Now this actually struck me as odd because I was fairly certain that in the demo, it actually does allow you to continue forward once you've done this. But something about the actual game just doesn't want this to work. Plus, all the pellets are yellow, so it straight up knows that you have the yellow onion, it just doesn't appear. Now, of course, there's 1,000 different combinations you can try, but these were all the ones I tried out. They definitely proved pretty interesting, but I'm guessing there's no way to actually move on from this point. Now, to wrap up the video, I'll go over a few interesting things I discovered while going through this. Number 1. The bomb rocks in the cave, where you'd normally find the bull bear, are still there on day 1 and work perfectly normally. Come to think of it, I wonder what would happen if you rescued the yellow onion and then got a Pikmin extinction via the use of these bomb rocks. But I am not doing that glitch again, so. Then you can also turn on the light earlier in that same cave, but since there's no flowers, no path is created. third, it looks like the hint arrows are really messed up and act as if everything is done and all paths are available. It even tries to get me to go up this unwalkable slope for some reason. And lastly, once I performed the glitch and was on day 2, I didn't take damage. I'm almost 100% sure you normally take damage when electrocuted, but for some reason, Alf didn't here. If you have any unique things you want to show off, put them down in the comments below. And with that being said, also remember to leave your suggestions in the comments down below for any videos you'd like me to do, especially glitch-related ones. But that is all for now, so I thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one.
Don't